So let's walk through some of the features of Icon Map Slicer. Now I'm going to kick off with some point data. Let's just very quickly check out the data. So it's just some points from London. We've got the longitude and latitude columns. We've got size. So let's start with circles. So we can use that to set the circle size. And we've got a category. So just category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So I've already added Icon Map Slicer to my report canvas. And let's start to drag on our fields. So I'm going to drag on the ID field, the longitude, the latitude, and let's bring on that size field into the circle size box. And straight away we'll get circles displayed on the map, as you'd expect. And I can expand out data layers. Circle layers is turned on by default. And let's tweak the size settings a little bit, so we'll get a broader range of circle sizes. And I can go down and change the formatting, or make the outline a little bit narrower, and set the fill color to be based on the gradient. Let's not do that. Let's base it on, or let's just use our circle size field for now. So now we've got different colored circles. Now obviously normally in a map visual, and we want to interact with the other visuals on the report, we can of course click on the circles on the map, and our bar chart here on the right with the different categories in will be filtered based on those categories I've selected. But Icon Map Slicer provides multiple ways of being able to filter the other visuals on the report. So the first way that I'd like to show you is to be purely based on where we're looking at the map. So I'm going to choose in the selection area here, map location. And I'm going to pick the longitude and latitude fields here. They can be the same longitude and latitude fields as you're using to display data on the map, or they can be from a completely different table entirely. So I'm just going to pick those longitude and latitude fields. And now, when I zoom into the map or I pan around the map, the visual on the right will be automatically updated based on those longitude and latitudes that are within the range of the map that we're looking at the moment. So as I zoom in, you'll see we'll get all the way down there to just a few different categories. So it's a great way of automatically filtering the other visuals on your report to just show the area that you're currently looking at on the map. So in this next example, I'm going to show you how you can filter the data on your map based on a reference layer. So what we're going to do here is use the same data as we've used in the previous example, but this time we're going to overlay the census areas onto the map as a reference layer using a GeoJSON file. And then when we click inside each of those census areas, it will select all of the points on the map that fall within that area. So let's have a look at how we do that. So I'm going to go to Overlays and Reference Layers. I'm going to turn on our GeoJSON shape layer. We're going to bring it in from an uploaded file. Display the file upload button. Choose our GeoJSON file. That will get imported in and shown on the map. And let's just quickly format it. So let's not show the background color at all. So I'll set the fill transparency to 100. Set the outline to be a bit wider so it's a bit more obvious. There we go. And then the final thing to do is back in the configuration settings, I'm going to turn on, just for this layer, use polygons for selection. And now, when I click on each of these census areas, it automatically selects all of those points that fall within it. The next selection type features that is worth showing you is down here on the selection menu. And we have a couple of different options that we can turn on to help our users select the items on the map. So I'm going to turn on circle select and lasso select and show you the difference between each of those. Now, turning those two options on will display these two icons here on the map. Now, the lasso selection, I think everybody will be familiar with. You can draw a polygon on the map, and then all of the items that fall within that polygon get selected. And you can choose in Icon Map Slicer whether you are going to include items that are fully within that polygon, or also those ones that intersect the line that you've drawn as well. And you can change the colours as well that it uses to draw that lasso line. So if you've got a map with a dark background, you probably want to change these to be lighter colours, for example. So that's lasso select. The other option is circle select. So what this allows me to do is pick a point on the map and then drag out a circle from that location, and it will show you the radius here. So if I want to pick all of the items that are 500 meters, for example, away from that point, I can easily do that and find all of the points on the map 500 meters away from that junction. This time we're going to have a look at some of the display options for Icon Map Slicer. So we're going to move away from London and this time head over to the French Alps. So let's configure our visual. I'm going to drag in the ID field, the longitude, the latitude, and this time I'm going to drag value down into column height, not circle size. Head over to the data layers, turn off circles, turn on columns. And now we get columns shown for each of our data points, but let's make these look a little bit nicer. Let's change the maximum height. I don't know, let's choose 2000. We'll make our bars a little bit wider and set the color to be a gradient based on our value field. We'll go from blue to yellow to red. And now we get 3D bars. Let's go one step further. Let's go up to our background layer. So let's understand how these bars sit in our alpine landscape. So I'm going to turn on hill shading, and that should show us, or at least give us a better idea of what those mountains in France look like. When you do this, there's two different sources you can choose. You can choose Icon Map and Icon Map version 2 built in. These are different resolutions of hill shading, so I'm going to choose the more detailed version here, and then I'm also going to turn on 3D terrain and also select that more detailed version. And what that should give us is our 3D bars now displayed within that mountainous landscape with the terrain shown in 3D, so we can really understand how our data fits within that alpine landscape. In this example, we're going to head back to London and I'm going to display polygons on our map this time. So rather than bring in an external GeoJSON file, in this case my polygons are actually contained within the Power BI dataset in well-known text format. So they may have been brought in from a SQL Server, Postgres or a Snowflake database for example. But the technique I'm going to show would also work equally well with an imported GeoJSON file. So let's drag on my code field, my geometry field, head down into the data layers, turn off circles, turn on that well-known text from data layer, and then in the formatting, let's change the fill color to be a gradient, and I think what we'll do is that on this value field. Let's also keep the outline to be black and a bit thinner, and we very quickly get a quick choropleth map. But what I want to do this time is head into the configuration settings and show you this option here for polygon extrusion height. So if I link that to another field in my data, which is the height I want these polygons to be in meters, that's meters from the ground. Let's pick my extrusion height measure in this case, and now I can tilt the map, and not only are my polygons coloured based on the data, but they also rise from the ground based on the data value as well. If you want to try out all of these techniques yourself, then the best thing to do is head over to iconmapslicer.com, and in early September you'll be able to download the sample file and iconmap slicer directly from AppSource. In the meantime, you can also get it from clicking on our documentation section, scrolling down into the release history, and then you can download the Power BI sample file and the iconmap slicer visual to be able to have a go in your own reports or with that sample file. If you haven't yet got a license, then you're able to sign up and get a trial license key from within the visual itself. Any problems, then please do get in touch with us at support@iconmapslicer.com. Let us know how you're getting on, and we'd love to hear any feedback.